Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the SurgeCast. It's a great time to be a Caniac as your Carolina Hurricanes still undefeated on this regular season, 3 games into the year. The Canes are off to a hot start. We'll break down the past 3 games and how the Canes are undefeated. We have some injury updates to talk about as well. We will have our 3 big questions as we move on further into this 2-week-long State Fair road trip. We'll have some game previews for you guys for the Anaheim Ducks, LA Kings, and Vegas Golden Knights. Zach, how are you feeling about our undefeated Carolina Hurricanes?
Feeling pretty good when you come off of a 5-1 win in your first Canes After Dark of the season. 13 guys out of the 18 on Tuesday night put up a point, so you're feeling pretty good how they're rolling. Hey, Brandon Bussey, NHL debut, how about a .941 save percentage, and you're winning your first game after 111 AHL games. Finally got the shot, parked the bus in that crease, and got the big dub. So feeling pretty good about it. But how are you feeling about these Hurricanes, Rich? 3-0 on the season, 1-0 on the road trip already. Everything's coming up Millhouse for these Carolina Hurricanes.
For everything we thought on paper, for the most part, it is turning out to be true in real life on the ice as well. You see the speed of some of these new guys. Obviously, there'll still be time to learn systems and everything, but man, this team is looking dangerous for sure. And we'll talk about how they're looking dangerous, some of our likes again and dislikes from what we've seen early. We do have some injury updates to share. Biggest one of them all, Jacob Slavin. Take this how you want because it's from Rod Brind'Amour, but he is going to be out for a while. What does that mean? No one really knows with Rod. He could be playing in those Colorado, Dallas games maybe. I doubt that. Or he might not be playing until after Christmas. We never know with Rod Brind'Amour regarding his timelines for injury, but we got an update from Rod before the San Jose game yesterday. Quote from Rod, he went for more testing. I think we're just going to keep him out for a while. I don't think it's super serious, but he doesn't quite feel right. So for now, he's not on this trip. Big loss for the Canes.
Yeah, you're talking one of the best defensive defensemen in the league, and it looked like he did miss the last few minutes of the game on Saturday against the Flyers. Like you said, it could be back half of this road trip. It could be, when the guys get back home. Who really knows with that? And we all saw him in that knee brace in the before even training camp started, and it seems like it's still bothering him a little bit. Maybe it's a precaution thing. Maybe they don't want him to sit on an airplane to go cross country with a bum knee, and maybe want him to rest. And we'll see how it goes. The Hurricanes have won. They won last season with him being on the injury, being out with an injury, and we saw against the Sharks. And I know people are like, well, it's the Sharks. In today's NHL, anyone can beat anyone. I think the defense did a pretty solid job when you give up 0 shots in the third period. So it's a big loss, but I think with where this team is out defensively and the fact you have Tim Gleason as your defensive coach, I think you're still pretty much in good hands. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge, but I think this is a defense that kind of can rise to the occasion. It's just the next man up mentality that this team always carries.
Which is also why, for Mike Riley, that was such a big pickup for Rod, because compared to the Scott Morrows of the world, that's an experienced guy. So I think Rod wanted the experience. He likes knowing that guys have been there, done that. He's a little bit more comfortable with those experiences. So knowing that there's that extra depth on the blue line, I think gives Rod a little bit more confidence. And Rod's quote, if I can find it, he said, "You're not going to replace that player, and we definitely need him back." He said that after the game for San Jose, which is very true. But you feel a little bit better, one, just seeing how they stepped up last night and the depth that they have in that position as well.
No, you really do. And the thing for Mike Riley is he gives a versatility of playing on both sides of the ice. He's like a Shane Gostisbehere. If you need him on the right, throw him on the right. If you need him on the left, throw him on the left. So you kind of feel good about it. And, nothing against Scott Morrow and the Ty Smith and Riley Stillman's. But yeah, if you need a guy that you can really throw in there, you have like, okay, go do your thing. We know you can do it. Yeah, Mike Riley's, 1 year at $1.1 million, that is some nice, tidy work by one Eric Tulsi for that type of contract. And he knows he's the seventh defenseman and he's okay with it. That's a journeyman who's like, hey, I just want to be on an NHL roster. I don't care what my role is. And he stepped up, and him paired with Jalen Chatfield, that is not a bad sneaky pairing to have for the Carolina Hurricanes if you need to be in a pinch without Jacob Slavin. You throw Riley in there with Chatfield, and they played well together. Hey, this Canes team, depth is going to be a huge thing for them this season. And off the gate so far, yeah, it's one game without Slavo, but all in all, not bad for this defense.
And including in that defensive depth, I know we just talked about Rod Prefers experience, but at least what we saw in the preseason with Charles Alexis Legault being called up, with Pyotr Kochetkov going on IR. We'll get into the goalies in a second. That's a guy that can probably step in and get some things done. Just prototypical size, like most things Rod would want outside of the experience piece for Legault.
Yeah. 6'4", 215 last year. I think he was like 6'4", 201. And I've said, you've heard me say it before, Rich, his 215 makes you feel like it's 235. That's how hard he hits people. And the Canes prospect guys, Nick and Matt talked about him a lot. Walt's talked about him. I've talked about him. Ryan Henkel's talked about him. Corey's probably has too. We all liked his game. Like his growth, his development from last season to this season, especially in the preseason and the prospect showcase. My goodness, this dude is probably the most most NHL ready out of the depth defense out of the American. First call, Slavo's out, boom, first call up, Charles Alexis Legault, right shot defenseman. You don't see a lot of those guys growing on trees very much right now. And to have that in a young guy like him, not a bad move. And honestly, and I even mentioned this one after he got called up. I think Walt posted, and I kind of said, it was like, all right, question is, do we see him? I would love to see him in at least a game or maybe two during this road trip, because I think he is someone that, depending on how all the contracts play out over the next couple of years, don't be surprised if we see Legault in this main group of six defensemen on this blue line in the coming future, because I think he is that good.
It's nice to just have that depth and know that in case things go wrong injury-wise, which they have already, that there's no need to panic. You have guys that are ready to come up. Back to the goaltending, Pyotr on IR, retroactive to October 5th. Whatever he did in one of those practices before the regular season started, he's been out the entire regular season so far. But based on what we saw from Bussy, which we'll get into a little bit later, hell of a performance. Makes you feel comfortable, because after you lost Caden to Toronto, right?
Yep, Toronto.
To Toronto,
Yep, labor climb. Mm-hmm.
You were like, yeah, this is going to be interesting, and you're able to backfill at their goalie position and looking like a great addition.
Yeah, I think from what all reports are saying, that Pyotr got dinged up during the preseason game against Nashville, and they were hoping that he'd be okay for the start of the season. I know some people were questioning why try to send Primo through waivers if they thought Pyotr wasn't okay. It could have happened throughout the days leading up. They thought maybe he might be ready to go for the home opener. He wasn't. They thought, okay, we'll just send Primo down, see what happens, pick up Bussy as a insurance policy. Lo and behold, the insurance policy was definitely needed. Lose Primo to the Leafs. You keep Bussy for the opening night roster, knowing that Pyotr's probably not ready to go. I know it's, people are questioning it, but, I know we'll talk about Bussy a little bit more, but he is someone who I covered a little bit last year for Caller Times, for the Providence Bruins, and his wins and losses don't tell the whole story. If you look at his playoffs, they're really good. It's just the team in front of him didn't really give him a lot of the goal support. When you're talking about a shutout in your only win last playoffs, but you're looking at numbers consistently and above 900 on the goals against, or 900 on the save percentage. Goals against are always in the sub threes or under 2.8. that's a pretty good goalie in the American League. So, yeah, to get a depth guy like that, even Paul Schadenfelder even said too, Brandon Bussey, and he's the goalie coach for the Hurricanes, he said Bussey was one of the guys that he's wanted. Like, yeah, he signed with Florida, but when they saw that he was going to be potentially on waivers, he's like, let's go get this guy. And it works. Like, he thinks that his game is NHL ready right now. I mean, yeah, he's 27, 111 games, never got a shot at the Bruins organization. I mean, it's kind of tough when you got Allmark, Swayman, DiPietro, now Korpisalo. He just got stuck in a logjam with the Bruins, and signs with Florida. He's on his way to Charlotte and said, nope, sorry, go to Raleigh instead. You just got claimed by the Hurricanes, and now he gets his NHL debut after 111 starts in the American. Boom, first win. So good. I know we'll talk about it more, but fantastic pickup for the Hurricanes for a third goalie. People were kind of like, what did we have in this guy? Well, you know what we got in this guy.
Easy detour for him too. Just heading a little bit further east. Nothing crazy. Not like he was headed to Iowa or anything like that.
Yeah. Good thing he wasn't flying out west somewhere and being like, all right, hey, we need you to come back out east. He's not like Phoenix Copley who goes from the Kings, waiver claim by Toronto or waiver claim by Tampa, that has to get traded back to the Kings for future considerations. Nothing like that. So yeah, just make a quick little detour on I-85 to head up to Raleigh instead of stopping in Charlotte there.
We're certainly happy to see Bussey perform the way that he did. That is certainly a like, and we have some more likes and dislikes from the past 3 games, starting with opening night versus the New Jersey Devils, a 6-3 win for your Carolina Hurricanes, which most of the game was very back and forth, but at the end of the day, Canes get it done. That's what you want to see versus the good teams, being able to pull away, because we all know how the Canes start, but sometimes they come back to finish, other times they fall apart. So to see them really drive it home, that was fantastic. I'll get started on likes. Easy like to start, so I'll have 2. The Powerball power play is back. I like that. No more cash pop power play. It is a Powerball power play. I love that. Rolls off the tongue so much better. It hasn't helped the Canes power play that much, but it will over time. The other thing I liked is Keandre Miller. How could you not like that performance? And Rod saying when the trade happened that Key reminds him of Brady Shea, which features on episode 1 of Behind the Storm, Hurricanes Behind the Scenes series. Make sure you're checking that out. Those will get aired all series. Shout out to us for getting involved and added in it as well. He had an article from Zach. You had me gushing about JB, as I always do. So shout out to the Canes creative team, whoever threw those in there with both of us. They've stepped up their game this season on the creative side, that's for sure. But back to Keandre Miller, that was an incredible performance because you thought that, like, can he be like the Brady Shea type? Can that speed and size fit? Like, we talked about it all offseason. On paper, he's built to be a Cane. And to see him be able to prove it felt fantastic. And it felt a little bit better to see Rangers fans being like, he's unlocked with this team. It was just, it was a perfect storm. But I just loved Keandre Miller's performance and knowing that, yeah, he's going to fit as a Carolina Hurricane.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 3 games in, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, this contract feels really good. I liked it right from the jump. I thought, he was just someone who was had a down season on a down team. But, yeah, so far he's doing really well. I say for my couple of my likes, I mean, come on. Seth Jarvis, the dude's inevitable. Let's be real here. 2 goals, gets the game winner, locks it in with, ices the game as well for his second of the game, makes it 5-3. All right, thank you very much. Home opener secured. I mean, now he's up to 99 goals already I think he's close already to 99 goals. But either way, this dude is on fire and fuego from Seth Jarvis. I mean, I said it. I wrote an article about it on the Hockey Writers. The Hurricanes' success this season is going to be built on Seth Jarvis's early season impact. It will be a catalyst for this team. Yes, you got Sebastian Aho. Yes, you got the big name of Nikolai Ehlers that everyone has been excited for. Yeah, you're hoping for a bounce back from Andre. But for me, I think this season will ride on Seth Jarvis taking you to that next level. Like it's another against these other guys, but somehow it's just that added magic or whatever it is from that Seth gives to this team. I think that's going to be very huge for the Hurricanes. So for me, yeah, one early like from that Devils game, Seth Jarvis just already making an early season impact for the Carolina Hurricanes. Another like that defensive pairing of Shane Gostisbehere and Alexander Nikishin, very sneaky already for the Hurricanes. I know we'll talk about it more during the Philly and the Sharks series and where they're at after 3 games. I know that was kind of a big question mark coming into the season of, okay, that's 2 very offensively minded guys. How are they going to be paired together, especially with Gostisbehere being on his offhand? Pretty good name for those guys, to be honest. Not upset about where they are at, what their contributions were. So far, still good for the third pair. But like I said, we'll talk more about those guys a little bit later. But I'd say Seth, his early season impact and that third offensive pairing looked pretty solid, all things considered, even in a game that was kind of back and forth early on.
It's funny, like you almost expect it from Jarvie. So like to me, it wasn't even. It's a like, but like an easy like because it's like, yep, that's just Seth Jarvis now. Like that's what we've come to expect from him, which you love, like a star becoming unlocked and just being so consistent that like good performances don't even surprise you. You're like, yes, that's my dog. Let's go, and that's it. Like being able to have a guy like that, yeah, that's a fantastic thing to have on a team is that consistency.
It's only on the second. It's only on the second year of his 8-year deal too. You're like, okay, fantastic. We love this.
Insane value. Now that you see all these other contracts, insane.
Let Tulsky cook, man. That's all I gotta say about that. Like Tulsky cook, dude. My goodness. Basically, room for days on this roster for money.
It's amazing. That I do like. Do have to touch on a dislike though. The power play. This game, I'm sure we'll talk about it in most games, but at times there are flashbacks to last season with guys just holding the puck, not shooting. That hurt to see. I know you're still trying to figure things out with Ehlers. Maybe you bring a guy up to the first pairing, maybe bring someone down, finding the exact fit that you're going to have all season. But that was a little rough to have those flashbacks to last season.
I will say, though, they did have a lot of opportunities. I mean, they had a lot of shots on a couple of these power plays, so it wasn't like they were going for offers or one shot. They were putting up at least 3 or 4 shots per power play. So I get what you're saying, but at least we saw them put multiple attempts on the goal. You would like to see more cash in, like there's at the cash pot power play where they need to cash in on it, but at least you're seeing the attempt there. They're moving the puck a lot faster. It's just the finish isn't there yet. But I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
Outside of the one for Miller, we could have a little bit more there. We'll talk about it more as we'll talk a lot through Philly and the San Jose series for sure. But
a lot of season left. Any dislikes for you in this game, Zach?
And the Jersey game,
not many, but
I would say the one I would have was the giving the goal back really quick twice early on. Kind of was a like, oh, here we go, because they just could not put New Jersey away early. Like they go up, New Jersey scores. They go up, minute later, Jersey scores. They get another lead, boom, Jersey scores another minute later. It's like, I think the last 2 goals New Jersey scored was under 2 minutes or under a minute and a half each to tie the game back up. And it's like, dang, you could not surmount a lead against them because they were automatically just scoring right after. Luckily, after Jarvis made a 4-3 and then made a 5-3, you kind of locked it down from there. But early on, it's like, dang, you could like just not hold lead early was like, all right, we don't need a stress inducer game 1 in the season. So I'd say that's probably like my only dislike was you kind of saw the flashbacks from last season where it's just the immediate goal that came against you after scoring. Like that's such a mood breaker. Like you score, you announce the guys who scored, then bang, a minute later, New Jersey puts one right in, and you're kind of like, all right, here we go again. Let's try to get the lead back. So I think that's my only dislike was just the early give ups for the New Jersey to tie the game back up and keep. Honestly, the way the game went after, this could have been a game where you should have pulled away against them, but they won. That's all that matters. If it's an inch or a mile, a win's a win. So we'll take it.
That's right. We love the win. We don't like the way they won as much. We don't like the way they won even less versus Philly. I did not see this game. I was at a wedding. Shout out Graham. But
I also did not see this game because it was my wife's birthday. So I got updates though. So I was keeping up through the updates thanks to Walt. But other than that, negative Ghost Rider, a lot of highlights after this game.
Yes. So limited coverage on this one, which sounded like an absolutely wild game from everything that I was getting from Kat while in Fort Wayne, Indiana. But how about a goaltender interference call going the Canes' way?
That was very
what multiverse are we living in?
It was kind of wild that it actually worked in our favor because that up until then, I think so I think this is the goal where Seth does get 99 when he gets the game winner. But yeah, like I don't know what it is about Philly the last couple seasons. They always give the Hurricanes so much trouble. To be honest with you, Rich, this game should never have made it to overtime, and you should not have had to rely on a goalie interference call to win this game. Like
that was also my dislike.
That was a ugly win, but hey, a win's a win. But I mean, hey, Seth Jarvis, he had 2 game-winning goals last season, first 2 games, 2 game winners. And thanks to Kane Statbrand for this little nugget, only guy in Hurricanes Whalers history to score 2 game winners in the first 2 games of the season. So there you go, Seth Jarvis. Inevitable once again, making his own list of what of accomplishments he can do. But I think that's my is Seth Jarvis stepping up, being the star player he needed to be. Him, Aho, Ghost as a unit in overtime. Keep those 3 together because that was magical passing from those guys. That was fantastic. Other likes, I mean, Nikisha got another point. You love to see it out of him. For a guy who a lot of people were kind of like, okay, he's trying to learn the language, trying to learn the system. It seems like the confidence is slowly growing in him, which you love to see. And it helps too when he's with Ghost. He's got Tim Gleason, he's got Slav, he's got all those guys on the defense. So I think my likes are Jarvis scores the game winner. Inevitable. Nikisha gets another assist. Dislikes, a very ugly win where this game should never even gotten to this point of OT and a goalie interference call to save this one for you. Like I said, I'm not upset that they won. I'm glad they won, but this was a game where you should kind of put this one away well beforehand.
Yes, I also dislike how close this game was. I don't like when the Canes allow for the inferior opponents to stay in the games and at times win those games as well. But that is why my is that even on a bad and weird night from the Canes, they still got it done. Mm-hmm. Where historically we've seen some of these games go the other team's way, and you question how the Canes lose those games. You know they lose them because they've played poorly, but for them to be able to fight through a poor performance, that gives me confidence in this team. So, got the win. Absolutely love that. 2-0. Zach, let's make it 3-0. Let's stay undefeated for the Canes as we had our first Canes After Dark game. If anyone stayed up for it, you're as tired as we all are. I somewhat regret it a little because waking up this morning was tough, but it was worth it to see the win. 5-1 win for your Carolina Hurricanes in Brandon Bussey's NHL debut. He gets the win. Rod flipped KK with Jankowski, so KK was a healthy scratch for tonight. We got to see Mark Jankowski for the first time this season. What a performance! I was worried in the first. I said, no, like we're giving up 3 power plays without Jacob Slavin. NHL debut for a goaltender. I am worried. And then donuts in the first. So I like that once the Canes finally got going, that they put their foot on the gas, never gave up from there. It took a little while to get to that point, but once they were there, they were not pulling another Philly. They pulled away from the Sharks. I really liked how they did that. I also liked how they did not give up a shot in the third period. That is without Jacob Slavin in the lineup. You have your talented cats over there in San Jose, in Celebrini, Will Smith. This isn't St. Mary's of the Blind that you're playing.
Yeah.
You did this versus an
Toffoli,
NHL team.
Michael Misa,
Yep.
Toffoli, Michael Misa, all those guys. Yeah, there's some dudes over there for sure.
Yes, and then also liked that Nikishin leveled Dickinson. Standing up for his guys. Here comes the boom.
Clean.
Don't trip Ghost. Yeah.
It was
that was a wild response from the Sharks, but seeing Nikishin just lay guys out like that gets me excited. I need to create a "Here Comes the Boom" by Nelly montage at the end of the season of just Nikishin lighting dudes up left and right.
Might as well. I mean, absolute cinema, as they would say, for that one whenever that drops. But
what likes do you have for this game, Zach?
I mean, you got to talk about Brandon Busty early on. Like I said, like we talked about it earlier, 111 games in the American, finally gets his, NHL debut. Dad, mom, family's there. Even his agent was there, which is cool to see as well. Gets the dub, 941 save percentage. Parked the bus in the crease, did the business. Yeah, the Sharks did tie it 1-1. It was on a turnover, but he locked in the rest of the way. Yeah, they only gave up 17 shots, but hey, it doesn't matter. You saved 16 of them. 941 save, get the dub game 1. Brandon Busty, congrats on that. Very cool by Shane Gostisbehere to get him the game puck too. When that all was because they were doing the goalie hugs, I saw Ghost hand it to him. So that was pretty classy by Ghost to be able to give him that puck and be like, all right, here you go. Here's your first win in the NHL after waiting for a few seasons with the Providence Bruins. I'll say this too. Busty, great numbers at Western Michigan in college. If you haven't yet, go check him on Elite Prospects. His numbers are kind of surprising. Like, okay, this guy went undrafted and now won a NHL game in his debut. What a night for him. Other likes, PK, slow start, early in the first 2 games. This one, 5 for 5. Now you're at 9th in the NHL with 90%. I know we're used to seeing them in the top 3. It's 3 games in. They're back in the 90 percentile. You're fine. 5 for 5. PK did his job without Jacob Slavin. You love to see it. Alexander Nikishin, you kind of talked about it, but how about this though, Rich? 3-game point streak to start his NHL career. Shout out to Kane Stat Brand for that. Another one from Kane Stats. How about Shane Gostisbehere? 3rd straight game to start the season. +2 on the board and the plus minus. Also got at least a point. 3rd Hurricane Wheeler to do that. The other guy out of the 3, Mark Howe, back in 1983. So Shane Gostisbehere put himself in a good spot. How about these two together, though, Rich? We talked about a little earlier in our recaps and stuff. They both 1-2 in the plus minus category for the Hurricanes. Ghost +7, Nikishin +5. This is your 3rd pair who got moved up to the 2nd pair in this game against San Jose with Slavin out. +12 to start the season for these guys that were the question mark of the defense. Some very nice work from these guys early on, putting themselves at a +12. You love to see it. Like I said, Nikishin, 3-game point streak to start his NHL career. Kane Stats, love to see it from you, my guy, on just dropping those little nugs. Oh, and Rich, you talk about the 0 shots in a period. Per Walt Ruff, friend of the pod, 8th time in franchise history the Hurricanes were able to hold a team to 0 shots in a period. Love to see the lockdown from this team without your best defensive defenseman in the NHL. Those are my likes from this game.
Well, to do that without Jacob Slavin, still, you cannot emphasize that enough. That is an amazing feet. And for the entire blue line to step up for a guy in his NHL debut, that's not an easy task.
Mike Riley with a Canes debut and gets a point. Love to see it from Rich. I know Miller didn't get a point in this game, but 5 of the 6 defensemen got at least a point. But every guy on that blue line plus that night. No evens, no minuses. Every defenseman was a plus that night from that blue line.
Which is amazing because you're like, you think, all right, we have to defensively lock down without Jacob Slavin. And the Canes blue line said, we'll just get it done on offense too. Like to see them on both sides of the puck, both sides of the ice, be able to do that is so impressive because you can have that tendency to be a bit tentative, to try to protect your goaltender, that we're not going to be that aggressive because we don't want to give up breakaways, even though they did, which we'll talk about in a second. But you don't want to give those up, but they still did. But to rebound and respond the way that they did, to do it defensively, to do it offensively, just a well-rounded group, a well-rounded unit. That is an extremely impressive performance based on being able to do it on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, 17 shots only in the first 2 periods for the Sharks. Out the fact they got a power play in the 3rd period, no shots on the power play. Like a total defensive lockdown. Like I said, 13 of the 18 guys who skated got a point against the Sharks. And that's after the Hurricanes had 10 guys against Philly put up points. They have the new thing now where they're passing the rope to someone for the rope of the game, or however they want to call it. Everyone's pulling on the same rope, man. Everyone's contributing in some way, one way or another. Like I said, 10 in one game, 13 guys in another game getting at least a point. They lead the NHL 5 goals a game, Rich, to start the season. These guys are like I said, you could say these teams are inferior. Anyone can beat anyone in today's NHL, but that is still impressive, the fact where the Hurricanes are at right now, 3 games into the season.
Like, that's the whole point. 3 games into the season, it's early. You still have the guys learning the system. You haven't gelled and meshed with these guys yet. You're not talking about a team that's in its 79th game. You're not talking about a team whose core has been together, at least every single guy has been together for multiple years, like this core will moving forward. We are 3 games in with essentially, 4 guys that haven't played a whole year under Rod, at least, in the core? I'm sure I'm forgetting someone, but Key, Nikishin, Stank, Ehlers, 4 guys that are under a year.
Jankowski.
Sure.
Taylor Hall.
Halsey too, and we haven't even mentioned him yet. He's like, yeah, I was a former MVP for a reason. Don't mind me.
First goal of the season, already, 4 points on the year. No big deal. Oh, yeah. Shane Goss is perfect. Yeah, 4 points. Tied for first with Aho and Jarvis. No big deal. It's whatever.
I know, that's a crazy part. The former MVP is having a resurgence, and it's like footnote.
Year 1 of a 3-year deal.
Yeah, because just how deep this team is, to your point, just everyone contributing. It's not the Seth Jarvis show. It's not Ehlers this year with a big contract. He's taking over. Everyone is doing it. That is Carolina Hurricanes hockey to a T. It has been amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Well,
however, we have a lot of likes in this game.
Yes, quickly. I only have one. My main dislike, like I said a little, the stretch passes the Canes gave up. I don't know if that was communication issues on shift changes or just guys playing on different lines with new guys, whatever the case was. The amount of breakaway opportunities that the Sharks had was not cool. I don't know how that happened. Shout out to Bussy for standing on his head every single time.
Ooh,
that was an amazing effort, but that was crazy that it kept happening.
Yeah, and especially in the first period, too, that got a little dicey. I know the Sharks did score on a turnover. It is what it is, but yeah, that was kind of rough. I would say, you mentioned it earlier. We really have to mention it now. The power play 0 for 3 against the Sharks. Rich, 27th in the, I know it's 3 games in. This isn't a super panic thing to talk about, but it's kind of like not a great start. 27th in the NHL in the power play for the Canes. 1 power play goal so far. And that's the home opener with Keandre Miller. Like I said, it's 3 games in, still figuring stuff out. Like now we have the Powerball power play back. It's not the cash pop, so maybe we can get some nice mojo back from that. But not a great start when you have 1 power play goal in your first 3 games. You did it again, and you had none against the Flyers and none against the Sharks. Gotta take advantage, man, of the man advantage. That's why it's called the man advantage for a reason. The Canes are a great 5-on-5 team, but if you want to make runs in the playoffs, yeah, they scored 10 in the playoffs after having 3 between January and April. If you want to be a great NHL team, you got to score on the power play. 1 in 3 games total, that's a kind of a tough ask to be like, can't rely on your 5-on-5 all the time to do it for you. You got to take advantage. That's my only dislike.
Hopefully those are just early season growing pains and the Canes will finally start cashing in. But we will
hopefully so.
Yep. We'll find out. On the other side of our break, we have our 3 big questions coming up for the next couple of games as the Canes continue to plow through their state fair road trip. We also have the game previews themselves talking about just some guys to look after for each team, how the Canes fared against these teams last season. But quickly, we're going to skip on over to our partners, get some ads, and we will be right back. Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins. With DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, from breakout rookies to elite QBs, and unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the bigger the payout. Looking ahead to this weekend, pick that I like, Trevor Lawrence, more or less than 15.5 rushing yards. I like more. I think he could run around, do some things. So let's take more here. And here's the kickoff bonus. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. This season, play your instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded is non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. I want to thank you so much to our sponsors for contributing to the show. Zach, it is now time for 3 big questions, just things that we're trying to figure out as the Canes move forward in the State Fair road trip. Starting with number 1, how many games do you expect Brandon Bussey to start during the State Fair road trip? He made his NHL debut last night, but we know Rod likes to keep his guys in net fresh. So I'm sure we'll expect Freddie versus Anaheim, but do we see him out there for at least 1, maybe 2 more games? What are your thoughts about Brandon Bussey making a few more starts on this road trip?
I think when you're looking at the schedule, because you got the Ducks Thursday night, you got the Kings on Saturday, then you got, Vegas Monday, Colorado on Thursday, and then you finish it off with the Stars on Saturday.
Boo.
Yeah, no kidding. And then you get Vegas on the 28th. I would say, if anything, the fact that you have every other day between Tuesday and Mondays, you're talking about 4 games in the span of 6 between Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday. I would hope you see him at least one more time, because if Rod said it too, they do not want to overrun Freddie early on, especially with his injury history that we've had. I'd say before Colorado on the 23rd, which is next Thursday, maybe one more game, possibly two for Bussy. I just don't see where the Hurricanes can look at 4 games every other day between Tuesday and Tuesday, or Tuesday and Monday, and use Bussy one time. You would think you might see him at least once more. I'd say probably the Kings at best. And then I think if you go Freddie against the Ducks, Bussy against the Kings, and then Freddie against Vegas, you have 2 days off in between. I think that's where you might go back Freddie again against Colorado. Because with the way the schedule's kind of broken up right now, I don't know if you want to ride Freddie 3 out of the 4 games before you get those 2 days off in between Vegas and Colorado. So I'd say one at least, hopefully 2.
Yeah, I don't see a world where Freddie plays the remaining 5.
No,
not a chance. I think that would be wild. I think Bussy for sure 1. I think Rod might stick with, I guess, what he's done already of the Freddie for 2, Bussy for 1. So I could see Bussy playing in Vegas, and then you have Freddie in the LA games. Look, whatever game Bussy plays that week is going to be a brutal game. Yes,
yeah. Not on him. Not on him. It's not going to be brutal on him. It's going to be an ask of who they're facing is the thing. So yeah, I agree with you there. It's Vegas, Colorado, Dallas. Yeah. Pick your poison of who you want to throw him to.
Yeah,
if he's not playing against the Kings.
Yeah, he'll definitely play in one of those that week. Arguably the Canes' most brutal stretch on the calendar. But we will find out just how many appearances Brandon Bussy makes. Hey, if he played like he did last night, certainly gives the Canes quite the chance.
Yeah, I mean, if they do the on-off for this week and then go like you said, 2 Freddie, 1 Bussy, even then, if you play Freddie against the Ducks, Bussy against the Kings, then it's Freddie against Vegas, Colorado, and then Bussy, Dallas. Even then, it's like, yeah, it's going to be tough either way. It'll be very interesting to see how the Hurricanes and Rod and Schoenfelder want to go about this, because that's a lot of asks right off the rip. So
that's why they get paid the big bucks. Number two, who will step up defensively on the blue line with Jacob Slavin out? And I think with this question, I'm asking, who's going to be kind of that shutdown guy? Rod said it, you cannot replace him. It's impossible to replace him. But do you see someone being able to step up from this group? The pairings from last night with Jacob Slavin out was Miller Walker, Nikishin Gostisbehere, Riley Chatfield. Do you see any of those 6 kind of becoming a little bit more of your prototypical lockdown defenseman?
I say Sean Walker out of those guys, because you kind of saw it last year as the season progressed, and even in the playoffs. Walker is more of a shutdown guy. Yeah, I think he's more 2-way than anything else. While his offensive numbers aren't going to jump off the page at you, he does have a more offensive side as a 2-way guy, more than just a straight-up defensive defenseman. But I think where his defensive game has really progressed with the Hurricanes, I think that's something to look at, because you got him paired with Miller, who's a more offensive-minded guy. That's a nice pairing to have. You could say Jalen Chatfield's another shutdown guy, too, that you can look at as well. He's done it before. I think he's definitely one to watch. But I think if you're talking about a guy who's going to step up to rise to the occasion and be that dude, especially when you're talking top defensive pairing minutes, I think for me, you got to give it to Walker as the guy who's going to step up in a big way with Slavin out as like your prototypical shutdown guy right now, because you got that offensive guy in Miller. Walker's got to be that guy who's got the more lean defensively on his 2-way game as of right now.
I think that's probably the clear 1-1, but I can see Miller doing it too.
Oh, I
Just in
mean,
the
yeah,
sense
he
of a
can.
guy
Yeah.
being with his speed and size. Obviously, he's been able to do it all as a Kane. I think he can rise to that occasion as well. I think Rod has a ton of confidence in him
Oh,
already.
yeah.
I could see him being a sneaky guy to where you see Miller making some plays and going, man, that dude's putting his body on the line. He's doing what he needs to. He's shutting
I
some guys
mean,
down.
100 hits, 100 block shots last year on a down season for the Rangers. Yeah, like I said, yeah, if you're not going Walker 1-1-1-2, it has to be Miller. Maybe 1-3 is Chatty. Like those three guys could be your good shutdown guys. I guess we always talk about Miller's offensive game, but like you said, Rich, his defensive game is very underrated. His strides, the fact of how big he is, like we saw this in preseason games. He can throw his arm out and deflect a lot of passes with his reach in the stick. His wingspan's pretty solid. So yeah, I would say don't sleep on Miller either to be a good defensive guy for the Hurricanes. On top of his already good offensive game and his foot speed, he is fast.
That he is. So going from defense to offense, number 3, who will get their first point of the season first? Nikolai Ehlers or Andrei Svechnikov? We saw last night Svech was flipped with Taylor Hall in the game versus the Sharks. But I don't know if that matters as much or even regular season Svech, which I'm sure we'll get into here. To quote our friend of the program, Mike Maniscalco, when he was on this program before the season started, quote, the Canes aren't going to be judged on what they're going to do in 82 games. They're judged on what they do in game 1 of the playoffs until that run is over. So we'll start with the question itself, Zach. Ehlers or Svech, who gets their first point of the season first?
It's kind of clear for me, at least, especially when the guy led the team in shots. Unfortunately, none went his way, but you see the chances are there. I think it's going to be Nikolai Ehlers. He's been very close. The first 3 games, it's just unfortunately, he hasn't even, like, if he just picked up a secondary assist, I think he'd be like, okay, he got the point out of the way. It's good to go. It's just unfortunately, the luck hasn't been there for him. But, Rich, you've seen it. The chances are there for Ehlers. He is fast. He's done everything that you've asked of him other than be able to get the puck in the net or at least get a point. And that's nothing against him. It's just the puck luck just hasn't worked his way. But you see what you've gotten out of this guy already on the off puck with speed, reading plays and stuff like that. For me, I think it's going to be Ehlers.
What's the quote from the newer Longest Yard movie with Adam Sandler? Like, he's fast, but he makes fast people look not fast. That's what I think when I see Nikolai Ehlers skate. He is so quick, and then it's insane. And I've heard a few people make the comparison a little. It's like the speed of Marty Necas, but Ehlers keeps the puck. Like, Ehlers is hauling ass down the ice sometimes, but not once am I ever like, oh no, what are you doing? Oh no, he's going to lose the puck. Like,
no
he is
drop
so
pass,
smooth.
no drop pass. Yeah,
Ehlers is so smooth and so fast that I have confidence every single time he touches the puck.
His nickname is Fly for a reason. The dude is fast. His stick handling is absolutely insane. I mean, if you watch that clip, that the video that NHL dropped on their YouTube channel in the offseason, where it was just like 10 plus minutes of Ehlers just doing Ehlers stuff. Like, everyone talks about McDavid doing that coast to coast and shooting between 4 Rangers guys when he was with the Oilers. Ehlers went between 4 different guys and scored a goal coast to coast. Ehlers can do it too. He's got some sneaky shot, and if he stays healthy, gives you about 80 games, you're looking at a guy who can get 70 points. I still believe he can do that. It's just, the puck luck hasn't really been there yet, but he is fast. He's got some good stick handles and no drop passes to no one. His offensive awareness is very, very good. I mean, hey, he's been in the NHL for 10 years for a reason.
That's right. And he's on that line with the 2 guys who are tied at 4 points each for the lead for the Canes in points. So there's not going to be a problem with him either scoring a goal or getting some type of assist from either of those 2. So there aren't worries there. For Svech, we'll see. I think he just needs time. I think we talked about it last year. He didn't have time to gel with a center. I think Rod might blend the lines a little bit. It's just a matter of who's going to unlock Svech in the regular season. I don't know who that fit will be. I think time will tell because, again, working with Stank, fairly brand new for Svech, so I'm sure he's working through that process as well. So a lot of brand new things that are getting thrown Svech's way, which if I put it in like my own work terms, it's never fun having to learn something new at work. So having to learn how to work with another guy, probably a little bit tough. Who will be the one to unlock it for Svech? I don't know. But I think he just needs to find that and find that confidence. It has to come from himself because I don't think it'll come from someone setting him up. He has to find it himself. But do you have any thoughts on Svech and what might be able to unlock him?
Hopefully something, because pre-ACL injury, I think Svech was doing really good. Post-ACL, you can kind of been seeing a little bit more of an inconsistency out of him. Like I said, when Svech is on, he is very on. He's probably a top 20 power forward in the NHL. But right now, it's like when your other line mates have 3 points each, and one of those guys is the center for the first time officially since he's kind of started in the NHL, it's 3 games. I'm not super worried, but if we start stretching this into 5-6 games without a point, then I'm kind of like, okay, what's going on here? It's still early, but something has to work out because playoffs fetch, last year was really good. Can playoffs fetch be consistent? But the thing is, we also need regular season fetch to be consistent because you can't rely on 40 points out of a guy that you think who is your second overall pick. This is a guy that you thought would be 65 points, maybe 70 every season.
I have a feeling that once we bring in our concerned or not concerned segment in a future episode, that's just likely going to be a part of that. Hopefully we pick not concerned, but that's for another time, another day, because we got some game previews to get into. Canes After Dark continues, Zach. Get your caffeine, get your coffee. 2 of the next 3 games are weekday 10 p.m. Eastern puck drops. We all have bags under our eyes. Hey, Saturday, only 9 o'clock. Not as bad.
At least it's a Saturday night at 9. But at least I'm off work finally for the Thursday night Canes After Dark. I couldn't do Monday or I couldn't do Tuesday night because I had to get up at like 4 on Wednesday morning. So not happening.
No all-nighter.
When I gotta go to work at 7 and then having to do some early morning recordings to make up for not watching the game, it's a little brutal, my friend, to stay up late to do that, especially when the game is like getting done like 1:30 in the morning.
It was late. It was late.
It was late. It was late.
Yeah. And this one on Thursday will also be a late one, taking on the Anaheim Ducks Thursday, the 16th. 10 p.m. Eastern. The Ducks are currently 2-1 and 4th in the Pacific Division. Last year, Canes were 1-0-1 versus the Ducks. I think we all remember wonderful Eric Stahl jersey retirement night that ended up getting spoiled with the Ducks overtime winner. This season, familiar face, Chris Kreider leading the way with 4 goals for the Ducks. That's tied for second in the NHL in goals as of this recording. He is tied with Leo Carlson for the lead on the Ducks with 5 points total. We'll see who ends up in net for the Ducks. Maybe it'll be Dostal or it could be old friend Peter Mrazek. Dostal did sign the 5-year contract in the offseason to remain in net with the Ducks for the long term. Zach, it's always a weird game with the Ducks. What are you keeping your eye out for? Any guys? What is the move here for the Canes versus the Anaheim Ducks?
Yeah, you mentioned. I think you're looking at Chris Kreider, but the thing is, Rich, 3 of his 4 goals are on the power play. If you limit the Ducks to 2 or power plays or less, you might neutralize Kreider. But the thing too is he's on the same line with guys like, Carlson and Killorn. Not really good numbers, all things considered. They're a combined -6, so not the greatest. They do got points, but they do get scored on a good bit. I will say, though, look for the young guy line of McTavish, Seneca, and Gauthier. Those guys are a combined +4. McTavish and Seneca both got 4 points each, and Cutter Gauthier has 3 points, but he's got 3 goals. Seneca 2 and 2. McTavish with the 4 assists. I would say keeping an eye out for that second line. The crazy third line, how about the fact that you got Granlund with Troy Terry and Frank Vetrano? That is a very surprising third line for the fact of what Vetrano and Terry can do for the Ducks. Once that top 9 can be rolling for them, that could be a very sneaky one to watch out for. So I'd say keep an eye out for those guys. The defense, outside of Lacombe, everyone's a minus. Trouba's an even, surprisingly enough, but the defense, even then, it's like it's kind of makes you wonder. Goaltending, though, oof, Maroons. You thought some teams' goaltending was kind of Dostal is 1-1, but an .893 save percentage, a 308 goals against. He has allowed 6 goals in his 2 games. PM Mrazek, though, somehow got a win, but here are these stats. A 739 save percentage and a 602 goals against. Insane stat line, but picked up a win. But it's, for me, for this one, if you get to the goaltending and you can shut down the young guy line and limit them on their power plays, fourth win in a row for the Carolina Hurricanes. Just got to get to the goalie early and limit the trips to the box.
I don't know. This is maybe I'm scarred from the Eric Stahl night game. This seems like a trap game. I know quite a few
Don't
people
overlook them.
I know a few people thought that for the San Jose game. And I think Canes fans are just waiting for that to happen, like the inevitable to happen of this is a game they should have won, but they did not win. This feels like one of those, but I don't know. Hopefully, just Nikishin throws Gudis and Trouba just into the port of LA. He knocks him there, just absolutely lights him up.
Disneyland's close by. Just shoot him over to Disneyland real quick. He'll be all right.
Yeah, here comes the boom. Newest ride in LA. We'll see. I don't know. I have that feeling that it's going to be way closer than it should. But hopefully the goaltending is a difference. Better for the Canes, worse for the Ducks, and the Canes are able to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
But year of optimism.
I mean,
if I had to predict, why not start 4-0? Because next game I have flashbacks that certainly don't make me feel confident.
Are you talking about the 7 goals when last time the Canes were in LA?
7-2 loss for the Carolina Hurricanes. Last time they played the Kings. We move on to the Kings. They are 1-2-1 on the season with a shootout win and shootout loss already on the season. Very interesting season that the Kings have had so far. As we look at the standings out in the Pacific, Kings are 5th right now. And again, Canes winless last season versus the Kings. It wasn't just that blowout loss. They also lost the game at the Lenovo Center as well. So far this season, Kempe, Byfield, Fiala, 2 goals each for the Kings. And then it's probably going to be a star-studded crowd out there in LA on a Saturday night You're going to have some celebs out there. I'd imagine a Will Ferrell appearance, probably a couple of others out in the crowd. I would love for the Canes to put on a good show for them. Based on last year, I'm scarred from the games before. I'm worried about this one. Zach, tell me why I should not be.
I mean,
real confidence you're giving me right now.
I think with the fact that where the goaltending is for the Kings right now, I think you kind of feel good about yourselves. Same thing with the Ducks. You look what the Kings are going, what they're dealing with. Anton Forsberg did get the win for the Kings, but 4.66 goals against, 857 save percentage. Darcy Kemper in 3 starts, 0-2-1, a 335 goals against, and an 868 save. Not the greatest of numbers. So, like I said, same thing with the Ducks. If you can get to the Kings goaltending early, I think you're pretty good for yourselves. You kind of mentioned him. Adrian Kempe, 5 points in 4 games, 2 goals, 3 assists. He is a +3. Byfield does the 4 points, but also watch out for Anze Kopitar. Swan song season. You got to really watch out for him. He's got 4 points, all of them assists, but you don't want to sleep on him. Kevin Fiala, another guy, 2 goals, 3 points. He's a -2, but he's always someone who always finds a way to step up against the Canes. You got to watch out for Andrei Kuzmenko, a guy who's really trying to strive for himself to take it to another level. Drew Doughty's fighting for a spot for Team Canada for the Olympics. So they got some guys over there too, and don't sleep on Philip Deneau. Yeah, he's got a point, but he's someone who always finds a way as well. And so, Alex Laferriere, yeah, he's got no points right now, but he's always someone who can kind of show out when they really need to. So if you figure out how to stop Kempe, Kopitar, a couple of the other guys on that Kings team, I think you're in a good spot. But just get to the goaltending early, just like the Ducks. If you can get to them early, limit some of their chances, I think you're feeling pretty good if you're the Hurricanes.
I still think this is a loss, but considering that the Canes will likely, hopefully, start the season 4-1, if you told me that, I'd say hell yeah, sign me up for that. As long as it's not that insane blowout, because it just the feeling around Piotr and maybe Piotr's confidence got rattled after that game too. So whoever's in that for that game, hopefully it's not one of those. Maybe it's just a 1-0 game, a much closer game than it was last year. That is my big ask. Keep it a closer game than it was last year in LA. In LA.
Yeah. LA. Yeah. If you know, you know.
That's right. But on the flip side, a little worried about the Kings game. I am very confident as you head into Monday, the 20th, in Las Vegas to take on the Golden Knights. Like we said earlier, this is also a 10 p.m. Eastern puck drop. The Knights are currently 2-2, but first in the Pacific. But last season, Canes undefeated versus the Golden Knights. I don't know. I feel like the Canes have the Knights numbered normally. Like, they're not a team I worry about. Like, on paper, the Knights are a powerhouse. Now, the Canes don't have Jacob Slavin, so that's you don't have as many. You don't have your main guy to neutralize the Jack Eichels and Mitch Marners of the world. But I still, until I'm proven wrong, I love the Canes in this matchup. I just mentioned him. Eichel, he's locked in 8-year, 13.5 AAV. Good for him. And then we obviously know what happened with Mitch. He's locked in for the long term there in Vegas as well. 4 points on this season, all assists, no goals yet for him. But he does have a +5 rating. So Mitch, always have to keep an eye out for him. Have to keep an eye out for the Stars. Just the Vegas Golden Knights way. Zach, are you as confident as I am going into the Vegas game?
I'm feeling pretty confident. It's, like you said, if you still have Jacob Slavin by that point, I think it's going to be a little bit more of like, okay, this could go one way or the other. But I feel like you have to feel pretty good for the Hurricanes. Like you said, you had the Golden Knights number last year. Of course, new season, some new faces, but we'll see how it plays out. But you kind of mentioned him. Jack Eichel, 4 goals, 9 points already. to start the season for him. He's off on an insane tear. Mark Stone, 6 points. All of them are assists, though. Pavel Dorofeyev, try to say that name. He does have 5 goals, Rich. But here's the thing, though: 4 power play goals, only 1 even strength. So, like, limit the penalties. You might neutralize some of their big boys. And Pavel Dorofeyev is one of the big boys. Like I said, try to pronounce that last name. Yeah, you said Mitch, 4 assists. He has a +5 though, so that's something to keep an eye on. Teenage Mutant Thomas Hertl does have 3 points. Someone who's always that's very capable of taking over as well. Same thing for Ivan Barbashev. Goaltending, though, this is where it's going to get very interesting, which compared to the Ducks and the Kings, where it's kind of like very shaky goaltending. Aiden Hill, in 3 starts, he is 0-2, but his goals against is a 3.6 and an 845 save percentage. Not terrible, all things considered, but Akira Schmid, who the Hurricanes kind of had their way with in the postseason a couple years ago, 2-0. 1 point in goals against, a 929 save percentage. If it's Akira Schmid in net, this could get very interesting. Are we going to see what he's doing with Vegas? Or are the Hurricanes giving him some PTSD flashbacks to the playoffs a few seasons back and light him up for a few goals? It'll be very interesting to see how it plays out for the goaltending side of things. But if you can kind of take care of Stone, Hertl, Marner, Eichel, I think you have a good shot for the Carolina Hurricanes. Just try and find a way to shut those guys down and get to the goaltending, depending on who it is. Regardless if it's Schmid.
You have knocked my confidence down a little bit for the simple fact of the Canes are going to get called for penalties. That's just who the Canes are. So
please no.
that would worry me if you gave up as many power plays as you did to the Sharks early on in the game.
You cannot do 5. You cannot do 5.
I would hate for this to be a game that the Canes just can't crawl back into if they go down early. That's where I wouldn't have the confidence for them to be able to crawl back versus a team like Vegas. I think 5-on-5 early on, that's a team that the Canes can certainly beat. But if you gave a team with that much talent, that much of a lead, that's just something that you can't recover from. So hopefully you keep that out in California, down in San Jose. And don't bring that to Vegas.
Yeah, you cannot. Sharks, 5, whatever. You shut it down. But teams like Vegas, even LA, Colorado, Dallas, do not ever give them 3 or 4, even 5 power plays. Because with the firepower some of these teams have, they will make you pay for it, regardless if you have Slavin or not. If you are a shutdown team, obviously we do a Hurricanes podcast. We know everyone knows how much we enjoy the Canes. However, you will get shelled if you give up that many. Not saying it's gonna happen, but do you want to play with fire? Unless you're the Calgary Flames, no, you really don't. So that's just me. Sorry, it was low-hanging fruit. I had to go there, but you get my point, though. Do not give them the opportunities. Just don't do it. You want to win. You want to beat the house in Vegas. So take your money and run.
Now that was a good one. So there you have it. Canes After Dark will continue this upcoming weekend into next week. As we close out this episode, we'll look ahead a little. Well, just a touch that hopefully we'll have big timer Bailey Curtis, now part of the All City Network with DNVR, because we have to preview. We have to preview the Colorado game with her. She's boots on the ground with DNVR. And then the one that I've been waiting to talk about, we'll give the full Revenge of the Canes and Logan Stankoven versus Mikko Rantanen. We're excited to get into that one as well. But we'll say that's all for another episode. Super quick, Zach, of these 3 games, Anaheim, LA, Vegas, point total for the Canes coming out of this one. I'm going with 3.
Oh,
actually, just
3.
kidding. Just kidding. I don't know why I thought the Ducks were a different team. I think I skipped ahead to a week. Again, don't drive up to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then watch Canes After Dark. Your brain doesn't work. I'm actually going. What do we have here? A little 4-piece. I'll go for wins versus Anaheim, Vegas. I think the Kings won until proven otherwise. I have that one as the Canes' first loss on the season.
All right, so you're going 4 out of 6.
Yep.
Give me 5 out of 6.
Okay. Keep this thing rolling for the Canes.
That's all I'm saying. 5 out of 6. Yep. I'm not telling you where.
Perfect. I love that. Keep this thing rolling for the Canes, especially on this road trip where there have been seasons where things kind of get derailed early. Hopefully that is not the case for the Canes here as they continue their State Fair road trip. If you're going to State Fair, stay safe. You can't even avoid traffic. You're going to be stuck in it anyways, but still hope you have a good time because that is the reason why the Canes are out west. They'll come home soon. Not yet. So, like we said, keep the caffeine going. Keep the eyes open because we have a lot of late-night Canes hockey to watch. Any final thoughts, Zach, before we depart?
Enjoy the ride. Get the caffeine. Get the snacks. Take a nap if you need to. Whatever you can. Canes After Dark is always very interesting, especially when you're out west. But, yeah, just enjoy the ride, man. Enjoy the fact that you got some guys who are stepping up big time with some guys out. You know, the stars are starring out as well. Just, enjoy it so far. And, yeah, that's all I got to say right now. Just enjoy the ride and snack up and caffeine up. That's all I can really say about that.
Or sleep. Sleep's not a bad thing either, and catch up on the highlights and live to see another day too.
Yeah,
not a bad idea either.
Hey, however you want to enjoy it. Yeah, however you want to enjoy the Hurricanes, go enjoy it.
Yes, we will continue to enjoy it. We will be back next week with the recaps of this game, previews of the upcoming games. I'm sure we'll have some more overs and unders to talk about as well. But for now, that's all for this episode of the SurgeCast. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you guys soon. Take care.